friendship that'll never ever end.
Run!
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Reaction Beanie 0694. Tighten that neighborhood, my brothers and sisters. Thank God it is Friday once again, Bean Team. And today, we are going back to one of our favorite YouTubers. And that YouTuber is Ryan from Tragedy Tales. Another Tragedy Tales Friday, Bean Team. And the title of the video is Oven Ordeal, Bizarre Deaths number 14. Now, I've said it before, but I gotta say it again, man. I think Ryan does the best job of just reminding us and making us always realize that how fragile life really is. You know what I'm saying, man? How you could be here 1 second and gone the freaking next. And I'm pretty sure he's about to show us some more examples of just that. But before we get into those examples, Bean Team, y'all know what y'all got to do. Get whatever you may need. Get what you need, please. We are back to Ryan from Tragedy Tales. Y'all got what y'all need. Y'all ready to go? Then let's go.
Whether it's 20 years, 20 weeks, or even perhaps 20 minutes from now, one thing's for sure, we're all going to die. Yep. The only question remains is how? While most of us expect the usual, dying of old age, or maybe dying in your sleep, some people just don't get that kind of ending. For a few, their final moments are so bizarre and so horrifying, they sound like they're ripped straight from a nightmare. And in this video, we're going to take a look at 5 more shocking examples. From a walk-in oven horror to a ridiculous fireworks stunt in India. As usual, this week we've got disturbing cases from all across the globe that are guaranteed to leave you gawping. So strap in and draw the curtains, and let's get right into it.
Get whatever you may need. Number 5.
This first entry begins on October the 19th, 2024 in Halifax, Canada. That cold Saturday night, 19-year-old Gurisman Kaur arrived at her workplace, a Walmart situated on Mumford Road in Halifax. Now, Gurisman worked at this Walmart with her mother and had done for 2 years since they had migrated from India in 2021. She left her brother and her father behind, fueled by a vision of a better life. As of October 2024, they were well on their way to achieving that dream, but that dream was ultimately never meant to be. Gurisman was described as a fun-loving girl, known for her aspirations and the close bond that she shared with her family, especially her mother. She was a girl with big dreams and a big heart, and once they were fully settled in Canada, the whole family planned to reunite and bring her father and brother over to be a family once again. On that fateful night, mother and daughter were working side by side during their usual Saturday evening shift. The store was bustling and they were busy helping customers and keeping things running. At around 8 p.m, Gurisman's mother noticed that her daughter had not been seen in a while. She walked through the entire store looking for her, but she wasn't in any of the usual spots. At first, her mother assumed that she was just helping customers elsewhere, or maybe she was in a different part of the store. It is a superstore after all, it's pretty large. But she was nowhere to be seen. When her mother tried calling her phone, it went straight to voicemail. Now this was a troubling sign, as Grossman never turned her phone off during a shift. As the minutes stretched into an hour, panic soon set in. Her mother, now visibly distressed, turned to store management for help, and using the store's CCTV footage, they tracked Grossman's movements to the bakery section of the store. When they got there, nothing could prepare them for what they found. In the bakery section stood a large industrial walk-in oven. Approaching it, staff noticed a strange liquid seeping from underneath the door. When they opened it, they were met with an unthinkable sight. Trapped inside lay the charred remains of Grossman. The liquid that was seeping from underneath the door was her bodily fluids.
And I remember this one, y'all. I can't remember from who channel, but I remember this one. But the thing that I didn't remember is the fact that her mama actually worked with her. You know what I'm saying? I forgot that part. But this is one of the most bizarre. Yes, that's the perfect title for this freaking video, man. Like, it's just a bizarre case, man. Let's see what Ryan got to say.
Absolutely horrifying. And for her own mother to witness this, it's just heartbreaking. The police and paramedics arrived at the scene at around 9:30 p.m, but there was nothing that could be done, and Grossman was pronounced dead. Of course, the big question remains, how did this possibly happen? Industrial ovens are built with safety in mind. According to the National Fire Protection Association standards, they have specifically designed safety features, such as emergency release mechanisms, added to prevent entrapment. Employees familiar with the Walmart bakery setup came forward and insisted that the oven's door requires a deliberate push to latch, especially when the oven is active and scalding hot. Videos shared online demonstrated how difficult it is to actually trap yourself in one of these things. The door's heat alone would have been nearly impossible for Grossman to close it from the inside. Furthermore, the oven did have an internal release button. While this button was made of metal, and pressing it while it was hot would have caused immense pain, I think we'd all rather lose a finger than be cooked alive.
Yes.
These ovens are so hard to shut from the outside. You have to push them. I'll show you. See that? So you swing it open too hard when you get something out of the oven. Let's see what happens. There is no way that this girl locked herself into one of these ovens while cleaning it. No way possible. I'm going to show you the emergency button. It pops the door open.
If this door were to close by itself, it doesn't. It doesn't latch. It's designed not to do that.
This is the oven. Not little, not big, just enough to fit, like 3 racks of bread in there. That's the push button that you're supposed to press in case of an emergency. That will release the doorknob. Why was she in there?
Like, seriously, man, I'm sorry, y'all. I don't think I ain't gonna say no way, because anything is possible. But I'm pretty much myself like 99% sure that she ain't lock herself in there. Somebody put her in this damn oven, man. I'm sorry, man. That's just common sense almost to me. That's just a logical thing. These freaking ovens got safety measures that will prevent this from happening to anyone without somebody forcibly putting them in there. Or if she did get caught in there, it was an easy way out. I'm sorry, man. I'm sticking to that.
The oven was on.
Initially, foul play seemed like the most logical explanation, but after a month-long investigation, Halifax Regional Police concluded that there was no evidence of this. They determined that she must have locked herself inside, possibly while cleaning the oven or during use. Why she did not use the emergency release button still remains a mystery.
On October 19th, police responded to a sudden death of a 19-year-old woman at Walmart on Mumford Road. As a part of the investigation, we conducted several interviews, reviewed video footage, and worked very closely with our partners at the Nova Scotia Department of Labour and the Medical Examiner Service. Today, I can share that our investigation has not led us to suspect foul play. We do not believe anyone else was involved in the circumstances surrounding the woman's death.
In response to the tragedy, the Maritime Sikh Society organised a GoFundMe campaign for her family, raising nearly 200,000 Canadian dollars. Walmart Canada expressed their condolences and temporarily closed the store following the incident. But what do you think? Could someone have locked her inside? Did the oven malfunction possibly? Or was there some other explanation? As always, I'm interested in your thoughts below.
Man, I'm sorry, man. I'm going with somebody locked her inside, Bean Team. Like, the police can come out and say that after our research and our investigation, after a month of investigation, there was no foul play. Yeah, you right. There was no foul play that you know of. You know what I'm saying, man? No, man, I think somebody did that. And you want to know one of the scariest parts of if somebody did it, like I think somebody did it? I'm thinking more than likely it was an employee, Bean Team. And think about the scariest part about this. That same employee possibly went to work or stayed at work, was right in everybody's face like they ain't know what happened, and they was the one who did it. Seriously, that same goddamn Walmart employee could still be working in that bakery right now. Or if they weren't working right now, like literally right now while I'm saying this, but just the thought of them coming back to work the next day after murdering this girl, and they still coming up to work like ain't nothing happened. Wolves hide in sheep clothing all the time. Seriously, long story short story long, man. We literally walk among murderers all the time, Bean Team, and don't know it. And I'm sorry, I don't think that girl did that, man. The latch, the emergency button, just the way you can push the damn door, but at the end it slows down. Y'all, we have all dealt with doors like that where you can't really close them unless you physically push it in while it's close to the latch. Like, no, man. I'm sorry, BNT. I'm sorry, man. I know I just kind of went on a little tangent with that one. But no, I think somebody did that to her. One more time. Long story short, short story long. Let's go to number 4. Number 4.
Now, this next horrifying entry begins on the 7th of June 2024 in Seaham, a beautiful coastal town in the northeast of England, situated within the county of Durham. That beautiful summer's day, the sun was shining and the birds were tweeting. It was a typical unassuming day, one that would sadly turn into complete horror for one particular family. That day, 39-year-old mother of 2, Helen Davey, was pottering around her house, doing some housework and running a business. As Helen ran this business from home, she often remained inside, alone, whilst everyone went out to work. That day, as she worked from home, all alone, she decided to put some things inside of her ottoman bed in the upstairs bedroom. If you're not aware, these ottoman beds are designed with a storage compartment built into the base, accessible by lifting the mattress. Of course, lifting a mattress is heavy and pretty hard for one person, so these beds are fitted with a gas lift mechanism on either side, designed to make the process effortless. Once the mattress is raised, the gas lift holds it in place so you can easily access the storage underneath. However, on that day, something went terribly wrong. Helen lifted the mattress, as she had done countless times before. She put her head inside and was rummaging around looking for something, and within an instant, the gas lift mechanism failed. The mattress, as well as the top of the bed frame, came collapsing down, straight onto Helen's neck. This trapped Helen's neck under the estimated weight of 30 kilograms. This immense weight pinned her down with terrifying force. Within just a moment, she found herself pinned with seemingly no way out. As the mattress compressed her neck, Helen must have tried desperately to lift it off, to free herself. I can only imagine the panic and the pain, her desperate pleas for help filling the empty house. But of course, no one was home. No one was there to hear her cries as she lay there struggling to breathe. Hours later, her 19-year-old daughter Elizabeth arrived home and went upstairs to check on her. As she got upstairs, the door to her mother's bedroom was wide open. She shouted for her mum, and she didn't reply, and so she crept into the bedroom, and the horrifying scene hit her all at once. In front of her lay her mother on her back, with her head still trapped under the bed. Her legs bent as though she had been trying to get up desperately. With great effort, she managed to pull her mother from underneath the bed and began CPR, but at this point, her mother's face was already blue. She also had a deep bruise on her neck from where the mattress had pinned her. She performed CPR until the paramedics arrived, but sadly, despite all of their best efforts, nothing could be done to save her, and Helen was pronounced dead at the scene.
And see, Bean Team, this one of those examples I was talking about earlier. Just how you could be here 1 second and the next second you're gone. Like, seriously, man. And then it's just, Bizarre Deaths. Like I said, perfect title, Ryan. Because, come on, man. This lady just going up under her bed to put some stuff away, just living her regular life. You know what I'm saying? Daily routine type of ish. And she end up dying from something that I'm pretty sure she have did a lot of times before then. It wasn't like that was her first time doing that, man. And I think this company need to be sued. And I never even heard of these beds before. I never seen a bed like this that got basically a trunk under the bed or whatever you want to call it, a storage compartment. I never even seen a bed like that. But the safety measures, no, man. And I'm not even thinking about it happened to a grown adult, but that's most definitely a risk for children, little babies out here crawling around and stuff. Nah, man, that's sad, dude. It's sad, man. I guess when God call you home, Bean Team, you don't know how he gonna call you, but he gonna call you. And that's one phone call that you gonna have to pick up regardless of if you don't want to or not.
She had likely been dead for hours. A coroner's investigation into Helen's death revealed that the cause was positional asphyxia, caused by the failure of the gas lift mechanism. The coroner actually discovered that one of the pistons in the bed had been defective, leading to the malfunction that caused the bed to collapse. The Ottoman bed that was designed to make her life easier ended up being the very thing that killed her. Now, this tragedy raises serious questions about the safety of these gas lift Ottoman beds. The coroner took the opportunity to highlight the dangers of these beds and urged for more stringent safety checks to prevent similar horrors in the future. Her family, including Elizabeth and her 11-year-old son George, were left totally shattered by the loss of their mum. Her daughter Elizabeth shared her grief on social media, saying that no words could ever describe how we're feeling. I can't even begin to process that it's real that you're not going to walk through the door. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this case reminded me of a similar case that I covered in one of my first ever videos, where in 2005, two women in their 60s, Mildred Bowman and Alice Wardle, found themselves trapped under a bed after its wooden frame collapsed on them while they were sleeping on holiday in Benidorm. They then spent 4 days trapped before they were found by the cleaners, and by then, they'd both died from the prolonged immobility, dehydration, and the lack of air circulation. While that case was of course different, the horror of being trapped, completely unable to breathe, is eerily similar to what happened to Helen. The question is, how many more deaths will it take before companies implement stricter regulations? As the gas lift was found to be faulty, it makes you wonder how many others are floating about in circulation just waiting to take someone's life. Why weren't these beds recalled? It seems absolutely crazy to me.
It's crazy to me too, Ryan. And just the fact that you said these beds haven't even been recalled. What? See, I was already under the assumption that all these beds got recalled. Maybe this whole idea of having the latches and stuff, they came up with a new method to doing it. Like, you know what I'm saying? But no, they even been sued for it? And suing would never bring this lady back to life. Rest in peace to her. But I'm saying, man, there should be something done about this Bean Team, because like I said, not only is that a danger to adults, but I'm thinking about little kids that could easily get trapped up under that damn bed. You know what I'm saying? Or the damn thing fall on them and it may kill them on impact, depending on how old they is or whatever. It's a lot of effed up ish can happen, man. And effed up ish just happen, man. And I gotta go back to what I was just saying earlier. When God call you home, Bean Team, that's the one phone call you gonna have to pick up. And she had to pick hers up. I digress. Let's go to number 3. Number 3.
Magic. It's a way to create illusions and make people think that the impossible is real. But when magicians push their tricks too far, the illusion can crumble and disaster can strike with brutal force. Unfortunately, that's exactly what happened on June the 16th, 2019, in West Bengal, India. That day for 40-year-old stuntman and self-proclaimed magician Chanchal Lari was meant to be a big milestone. Chanchal, known as the Wizard Mandrake, had spent months planning this latest magic performance, And for him, this wasn't just another stunt. It was a chance to revive interest in magic and prove that he could still amaze the world. His plan was bold. He planned to be wrapped in ropes, bound with steel chains, and locked with 6 padlocks before being submerged in the Hooghly River from a bridge linking the cities of Howrah and Kolkata. This trick was inspired by the legendary escape artist Harry Houdini and mirrored a trick that Chan Chow had pulled off 21 years earlier. Back then, he'd locked himself inside a bulletproof box, tied with chains and padlocks, and escaped after being dropped off the exact same bridge. That stunt had gone off without a hitch. He emerged in just 29 seconds, leaving the crowd in awe, with some believing that he might actually be magic. On that Sunday, June the 16th, Chan Chow returned to the iconic Howrah Bridge, spanning the Hooghly River once more. As he reached the bridge, Chan Chow called in the police as well as the media to witness the performance, as well as providing backup just in case something went wrong.
Man, I just got to point out this trick is absolutely insane, Bean Team. This is crazy, this stunt he about to pull off. And that's the thing about stunts with especially like Houdini and you name it, the magicians, the David Blaines of the world and stuff. Okay, the actual part about, and I'm not even talking about all the time, the actual part about how they get out of the locks and stuff may be fake, maybe the locks ain't real, or maybe they do got the key and it's under their sleeve and they gonna pull it out while ain't nobody looking. Maybe that part be fake, but the one thing that I know is real is he about to go in that damn water for real with them chains around him. You know what I'm saying, man? And even that part right there is enough for you to lose your life. It's crazy, man. Like these stunts, yes, certain parts of it may be fake, but there are real realities to these stunts. And him going into this water with these chains around him is real deal Holyfield.
On the riverbank, his family stood alongside a crowd of spectators, all eager to see if he could pull off the impossible once more. He, as well as several other volunteers, boarded a small boat and made his way just underneath the bridge. The crowd watched, the tension building as he prepared for what would be the most dangerous act of his career. With his family watching and the cameras rolling, Chan Chow was wrapped in chains and padlocks, as well as ropes. Before the stunt, he addressed the camera, his voice steady, saying, "If I can open it up, then it will be magic, and if I can't, it will be tragic."
আজ যে ম্যাজিকটা আমরা করতে এসেছি সেটা হচ্ছে সো রিস্কি, অ্যাপারেন্টলি রিস্কি এবং অবশ্যই রিস্কি। প্রথমে যেটা করা হবে, আমার হাত দুটো পিছন দিক থেকে বাঁধা হবে মোটা দড়ি দিয়ে, পা দুটো বাঁধা হবে মোটা দড়ি দিয়ে, এবার সারা শরীরে চেন দিয়ে পেঁচানো হবে, তার সঙ্গে তালা থাকবে, 6খানা তালা থাকবে বিভিন্ন জায়গায়। সেই অবস্থায় পায়ের দিক থেকে ক্রেনের সাহায্যে আমাকে তুলে নেওয়া হবে। এটা উঠে যাবে প্রায় 50-60 ফুট ওপরে ব্রিজের কাছাকাছি। সেখান থেকে আস্তে 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 আমাকে জলের মধ্যে, রিভার গঙ্গার মধ্যে আস্তে আস্তে নামিয়ে দেওয়া হবে। এবার সেই যে ভয়ঙ্কর বাঁধন সাধারণভাবে খোলা যায় না, সেখানে আবার দুরন্ত স্রোত, সেই স্রোতের মধ্যে আমি খুলে ফেলবো। যদি খুলতে পারি ম্যাজিক, আর যদি খুলতে না পারলে ট্র্যাজিক।
Moments later, he was hoisted by a crane from the bridge, from the boat, and lowered into the Hooghly River below.
To the point where it's should we even call that a trick? Is that even a magic trick, or is that damn near suicide or something? I'm sorry, BT. Just looking at that man go in the water. You in a lake? What are you at? A lake? It's not a pond. It's not a river. I'm gonna think it's a lake because it's not an ocean either. At least I don't think. Regardless, tomato, man. And you chain, like, there is no protection. No, it's just his body chain going face down or back face first down, whatever, into a lake, Bean Team. That's just crazy seeing that part.
The crowd buzzed with anticipation as he disappeared beneath the surface, the chains clinking slightly as the water swallowed him whole. Seconds passed, then minutes. The crowd waited, eyes fixed on the river, expecting him to break free and rise from the water, but he just didn't. 5 minutes turned to 10. The excitement then shifted to unease. Chanchal was nowhere to be seen. They pulled the crane up and found that he was no longer on the hook. Somehow he had become unhooked from the crane and must have been taken away by the current. Rescue teams searched tirelessly, but it wasn't until the following night that his body was eventually found, nearly a kilometre downstream. He was still bound in the chains and the padlocks. The trick had failed, and Chanchal had paid the ultimate price. His earlier words now carry a haunting weight. It's clear to see that he did understand the risks, he accepted them, and took the plunge anyway. This case is a shocking reminder that even for the boldest of performers, the line between risk and death is razor thin.
Yes.
So if by any chance you accidentally find yourself by a river, accidentally find yourself bound in steel chains and 6 padlocks, and you too are thinking about doing an epic magic trick, ask yourself, is the magic worth the risk? Because sometimes there's no second act.
Man, rest in peace to Chanchal though. And I got the utmost respect for people who do this type of stuff. Magicians, like daredevils, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Those type especially. Like, I got the utmost respect for them because it's like, dude. And Ryan said what I had alluded to earlier when I was like, man, is this a magic trick that you doing? Or is this suicide? And he said pretty much the same thing, man. Like, dude, you like literally you putting you compromising your life so hard. Like, the odds of you making it through this are pretty much slim to none. And it's so sad till it got to the fact, well, when they found his body, he never even got out of none of the chains or nothing. When they found his body, he still was chained up, Bean Team. Like, he never had a chance of surviving or completing this magic trick. Rest in peace to him though. Where we on? Number 2? Let's get to number 2. I think we on number 2 or number 3. It don't matter. We on an extra one. Extra. Never seen this from Ryan.
Next up, we've got a case that has become infamous all across the world, but that doesn't make it any less bizarre or any less horrifying. This case begins on September the 23rd, 2016. On that cold night, 23-year-old Corey McKeague went out drinking with some friends in Bury St Edmunds, Suffolk, for what seemed like a typical night out. Corey was a Royal Air Force Regiment gunner, stationed at RAF Honington, around 10 miles from Bury St Edmunds. That evening, Corey drove into town, parked his car on the outskirts of Bury, and then walked into the city centre to meet some friends. Soon, he and a group of friends were at Flex nightclub, partying the night away and having the time of their lives. Now, Corey's outfit that night stood out. He was wearing a distinctive pink Ralph Lauren shirt, as well as white trousers and brown Timberland boots. Very stylish. That night, he seemed to be in high spirits, catching up with friends that he hadn't seen in a while. He was smiling and laughing, but everything changed at around 1 a.m. on September the 24th. At this point, Corey was kicked out of the club for being too intoxicated and ended up getting separated from his friends. So, from there, he made his way to a takeaway called Pizza Mamma Mia, located on St Andrew Street North, where here he grabbed a couple of burgers and ate them while sitting outside a local electrical store. Despite being clearly drunk, he still seemed to be enjoying himself, even playing rock, paper, scissors with a stranger outside the pizza shop. Shortly after, CCTV footage captured Corey briefly falling asleep in front of this shop. Then, by 3:25 a.m., Cameras caught him walking towards a cul-de-sac known as the Horseshoe on Brent Govell Street. And then, after that, nothing. Corey was seen entering the one-way street, but was never seen leaving. He wasn't reported missing until Monday, September the 26th, approximately 2 days later, when he failed to show up to work. Police and RAF search and rescue teams immediately began searching for him, raising a missing persons case. Investigators were able to track his phone's movement using cell phone towers, discovering that it had travelled from Bury St Edmunds to Patron Mills, approximately 12 miles away, in just 26 minutes. This confirmed that Corey had been in a vehicle. Unfortunately, the phone was either damaged or cut off at 8 a.m, and that was that.
But do that really confirm that he been in a vehicle, or whoever killed him took his cell phone and was in a vehicle? I'm just saying, Bean Team. I'm just saying, we got to look at it from all different type of ways.
The police's investigation focused on the Horseshoe cul-de-sac area, which was surrounded by commercial bins belonging to the local businesses. Many of these bins were left unlocked. Officers theorized that Corey, in his drunken state, must have climbed into the bin and been crushed to death in a bin lorry. The first thing the police did was seize the bin lorry that had collected the trash in the area that morning, but when they checked the recorded weight of the waste picked up that morning, it showed just 14 kilograms, far too light for a person to have been inside. This led investigators to rule out the theory and instead search along the lorry's route to no avail. Meanwhile, Corey's family conducted media appeals and handed out thousands of missing persons leaflets, desperately searching for answers. Sadly, however, by October 2016, a month after his disappearance, there were still no clues as to where he had gone.
Corey McKeague hasn't been seen since last Saturday. CCTV footage shows Corey's last known movements walking slowly along Brent Govell Street in Bury St Edmunds in the early hours of Saturday morning. It's thought he slept in a doorway before attempting to walk several miles home. 9 days later, during a police press conference, his family gave this appeal.
He's a good-looking lad at 3 o'clock in the morning, walking about in a pink shirt and white trousers. He is easily identifiable.
His brother says he spoke to him the night he disappeared.
If you could have picked a happier conversation between me and him, that was it, because it was beyond good. It was just how we are with each other.
And it's this constant communication with his family which police say raises further concern for the RAF serviceman's safety. Police have released images of the exact clothing he's believed to have been wearing at the time of his disappearance: a pink Ralph Lauren polo shirt, white jeans and brown suede Timberland boots. Data tracking Mr McKeague's mobile phone shows it moved from Bury St Edmunds to Barton Mills, 10 miles away, which officers say match the route of a bin lorry that's now been seized. However, it's not thought Corey was with the phone at the time. An RAF spokesperson has said they will not speculate on the case, but as police widen their search, the concern for Corey's safety grows.
This is when police revisited the bin lorry's weight records and discovered a critical error had been made. Due to incorrect data entry, the recorded weight was not 14 kilograms, but in fact 116 kilograms, well enough for an average human male. This new evidence reignited the horrifying theory that Corey had been in the bin. Upon discovering this, an extensive search of the landfill where the lorry had dumped its contents was conducted. Police teams spent 20 weeks combing through the landfill, digging as deep as 26 feet into the compacted waste. Despite the grueling search, they found nothing. Not a shred of evidence. No phone, no bones, no clothing, not a single shred of remains were found. They were definitely looking at the right time period because they found other rubbish dating back to the time and the day that he went missing, but they did not find Corey. This led some people to speculate that the police had searched the wrong landfill, or that Corey had somehow left the area unseen. However, law enforcement still maintain to this day that their search was based on the best evidence available. By March 2018, after spending over £2.1 million on the investigation, the police formally closed the case, stating that Corey may never be found. Corey's father later revealed that his son had occasionally slept in bins before, after nights out, but he insisted that Corey would not have climbed into one that was dirty or full, especially while wearing white trousers. Plus, his car was parked nearby. He could have easily walked back and slept there. Of course, he was drunk, so it kind of throws a skew on normal thought process, but who knows? These questions would continue until 2021, when an inquest into Corey's death provided some closure. The coroner concluded that Corey had climbed into the commercial bin, intoxicated and unaware of the danger. The bin was later emptied into a lorry, where he likely died from a combination of positional asphyxia as well as crushing. His death was officially ruled a tragic accident, described by the coroner as a case of misadventure.
For Corey McCaig's family, today has been a long time coming, and for his dad Martin, the outcome confirms what he's always believed.
Do you know, I've known this for 5 years, but it doesn't make it any easier.
I know.
Even though you know, it doesn't make it any easier.
And for Corey's mum, the detail of those failings is hard to bear.
And I would like to make so sure that this never happens to another family again. So if we can do anything to be able to make sure that bins do have locks on them, that you can see through windows to be able to check, that if we can do something, we will as a family.
Just imagine being drunk, falling asleep in a bin, and waking up as you're tipped into a bin lorry, screaming for help as you're crushed in total darkness. That's just horrifying. He likely still rests at the bottom of the landfill to this very day.
That's a tragic one too, Bean Team. And I think I have heard of that story before. I'm not sure. But I'm just sitting back thinking about the fact that this dude was even in the freaking trash can bins. Like, and it's a regular thing that his father knew about. Like, his father said that, yeah, he would get drunk sometime and sleep in these bins. Like, even his father right then was like, yeah, I knew that's what ended up happening to him. You know what I'm saying? I known this for 5 years. That was kind of like his exact words. But I'm just sitting back, like, and not try to chastise his father or nothing. And maybe he had no control over it. But man, I feel like we could have stopped Corey from sleeping in these goddamn these garbage bins a long time ago. These trash cans a long time ago. Like, we should have been on him, like his family, his friends. And like I said, I'm not trying to get on their case or say it's their fault or nothing. But I'm just saying, if that was my friend or my brother or whatever, man, I'd be like, bro, just stop doing that ish. And you know, I'm kind of keeping it PG how I'm saying it to y'all. But y'all know how I'll be going off and letting him know I'm serious about this. You get drunk, do not get in no fucking gas trash can, man. It's just a tragedy tale, man. Just a freaking tragedy tale. And I really think that's what happened to him, though. But rest in peace to him. But I feel like that one right there could have been avoided. Like, seriously, Bean Team. Seriously. Let's go to number 2. Number 2.
Police exist to serve and protect, maintain order, and ensure the safety of their communities. They're supposed to uphold the law to safeguard the well-being of everyone. But sometimes, police officers turn bad. They do the exact opposite of what's tasked of them, and sometimes it costs lives. Yep. With that in mind, the events of August the 5th, 2018 began like any other day. But what ultimately unfolded was something straight out of a nightmare. That day, the city of Lancaster, California hummed to life. As it was summer, the sun was beating down from above, people were going about their daily lives, and so were the police. As deputies were patrolling around Lancaster, one patrol vehicle noticed a car driving with fake number plates. Upon running the make and model of the car in their database, they quickly discovered that this car was most likely stolen, and so they attempted to pull the driver over. The man driving this alleged stolen car was 35-year-old Raimundo Rivera. Despite the criminal activity that he may or may not have been involved in, he was a father of one and was described as a very thoughtful husband. As the police attempted to pull him over, Raymundo ignored them and instead gave chase, driving across West Lancaster at speed. In the chase, he put his foot down and drove dangerously until he eventually crashed near a Winco food supermarket situated on 740 West Avenue, K4 in Lancaster. As the car came to an abrupt stop, he jumped out of it and ran through the car park of the supermarket and straight inside. With deputies not far behind, Raymundo then sprinted up the stairs inside the shop and into the upstairs offices. From here, he was able to access a roof hatch and then onto the roof of the shop. The Los Angeles Police Department also rushed to the roof, but when they got there, Raymundo was nowhere to be seen. Officers claim that they searched the entire roof as well as the surrounding area, but failed to find any clue of him whatsoever. Somehow, he'd eluded capture. Shortly after, police teams gave up looking for him and wrote the case off and issued a warrant for his arrest. For his wife and daughter, however, the search for Raymundo went on for days. Understandably, they were extremely worried about him. However, almost a week later, no sign of him was found, and it looked like he had vanished without a trace. Until August the 11th, 6 days after his disappearance, the manager at the supermarket noticed a foul smell and called a plumber to take a look, believing it to be a clogged pipe. This plumber climbed to the roof, and he too noticed the insanely bad smell. That week, the California sun was out in full force, with temperatures reaching 41 degrees Celsius, or around 104 Fahrenheit. As the plumber tracked the pungent smell down with his nose, it led him to a brick pillar at the front of the store, and when he looked down from the roof into the pillar, it was dark, but the smell was definitely emanating from within. The plumber got on the ground and started removing bricks from the pillar, and nothing could prepare him for what was inside. Jammed inside the pillar was the decomposing body of Raymundo. He'd either fallen or climbed down there on purpose 6 days previously to evade capture, and once he was inside, he found he could not get out. He was...
Man, I feel like he had been panicking. Like, he really was trying to get away from the police, y'all, in that moment, and when thinking about the consequences of what he was getting into. Like, literally, he went thinking when he got inside this pillar, like, the fact that, how am I gonna get out? He didn't even think that part through. He just was trying to evade these police and got up in this damn thing and got freaking stuck. Oh my God, that's a terrible way to die.
Was found still standing on his feet at the bottom of the pillar, with one hand trapped behind his head. The worst part, he had not died from asphyxiation in there, but instead he died days earlier from heat exposure. The horror he must have experienced when he realized that he was trapped and that he couldn't get out, and then realizing that no one could hear him, must have been absolutely awful. He would have been screaming in terror, screaming for someone to desperately help him, but no one could hear him, and he eventually died in there. An absolutely terrible way to go.
Breaking news, detectives have just removed a decomposing body that was found inside a column at a supermarket in Lancaster. Earlier today, employees at that store noticed a foul odor and called a plumber.
Kahlo and Kathy, the sheriff's office says they've never seen anything like this before, and you have to see what's happening behind me here. The crews are actually out here on the cleanup scene, focusing in on that one column. When the plumber got here, he started removing bricks off of it, trying to reach the smell, but found a shoe and a leg and called 911. The sheriff's office says they believe this may be the body of a suspect who escaped from a traffic stop on Monday night, now found dead about a week later.
It smelled like death.
Diane went to buy groceries at this Lancaster Winco off West Avenue K and 10th Street, but found sheriff's deputies surrounding the store, focusing on one pillar.
I saw like some gooey liquid, and it smelled really foul, and I thought to myself that it was probably blood. It seemed like it was blood, and it was oozing out of the bottom of the pillar onto the pavement.
That foul smell led to the manager bringing in a plumber, thinking it was a leak, but then a body was discovered.
Tragic, bizarre, just so many questions swirling around in people's minds, and there's been a little bit of an update movement since we last saw you. If you look behind us here, you can see that crime scene cleaner, that biohazard remediation truck that has moved in here to clean up the situation at hand. That pillar still surrounded, wrapped around in that white material, and then also surrounded by an orange fence of sorts. So it was a gruesome discovery made yesterday inside the pillar right outside of this grocery store.
Police teams at the time said that they had no idea that he'd climbed into the pillar, and that if they did, they would have got him out and arrested him. Now, this theory sounded plausible. However, 6 years later, literally 10 days ago as of voicing this script, on the 14th of January 2025, a lawsuit was raised by Raymondo's family members, alleging that the Sheriff's Department, or specifically former Deputy Aaron Tanner, knew that he was in there and that it was in fact not an accident. Now, this only came to light after a separate lawsuit was raised about the deputy, claiming that he had been physically abusive to his partner and that he was part of a violent gang. In that separate lawsuit, she claimed that Deputy Aaron had bragged to her about his crimes, which included chasing Raymondo down into the supermarket before watching him fall into the pillar and leaving him there to die. In this
Boy, this is a hell of a freaking plot twist, Bean Team. Like, what the freak? And hey, like what I said earlier, anything is possible. And this is most definitely possible that one of these damn police, whatever this man name, knew that dude had fell down there and left him in there. He already got a terrible history of crimes and being in gangs and stuff. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying.
Lawsuit, his widow and daughter alleged that Aaron, as well as other deputies, had engaged in deliberate misconduct, including abandoning Raymondo in a life-threatening situation, and then going on to falsify reports to conceal their horrific actions. This is absolutely shocking stuff. It's not often that I'm researching a case this old, and there's an update this recent that flips the whole case completely on its head. In response to the lawsuit, ex-deputy Aaron Tanner's lawyers broadly denied the allegations against him. Well, of course, this is an ongoing case, which means that these are, right now, only allegations. If these allegations turn out to be true, this is bloody awful. Police officers are meant to help you, not leave you to die in the worst way possible. I hope his family get the closure they deserve, because nobody deserves to die like this. Of course, now the lawsuit has been raised, I'm sure evidence will be re-examined, and who knows, Aaron and other deputies in the Los Angeles Police Department may even be found responsible for Raymondo's tragic death.
Man, yeah, there was a plot twist, like Ryan said, that flipped this whole story upside down on his head, Bean Team. And I'm just saying, man, that's one of those ones where I hope we get an update on sooner than later, because it is a possibility. We have not even just have heard of police doing crazy ish like that. We have seen it on camera. George Floyd, like seriously, that's all I gotta say. George Floyd, and that right there is the perfect example of what we have seen police do on camera to people. Like, come on, man. So it's a possibility. I don't know if it's true or not. That's a crazy possibility, though. Oh. Now I don't even know which way to look at the story or not. Only thing I'll say is rest in peace to him. And I hate that he felt the need to run away from the police like that because of a traffic violation. Maybe he had some warrants. Maybe he was a past felon. I don't know. I don't even know if Ryan mentioned any of that or anything. But I hate the outcome of what happened regardless. But I wonder how we got to that. Some of them police probably did know, Bean Team. That's sad to even say, but it is a possibility. Let's get to number one. Number one.
Deepavali, or Diwali, is the festival of lights celebrated across the East. It marks the victory of light over darkness and good over evil. This festival is supposed to bring people together to put aside differences and celebrate a cause greater than themselves. This festival starts on November the 1st of every year and lasts up to November the 5th. Throughout this time, worshippers light oil lamps, burst firecrackers, exchange sweets, and worship the goddess Lakshmi for prosperity. Of course, this festival, like many mega-scale celebrations, can sometimes result in accidents, and sometimes even fatalities. With that in mind, this entry begins on October the 31st in Konakunte, in South Bengaluru, India. That night, celebrations for Diwali started early, with many communities around India lighting oil lamps and setting alight fireworks and firecrackers. One of the people that was out celebrating that night was 32-year-old Shabari M. Shabari worked as a construction worker and was described as a brilliant, hard-working man that unfortunately suffered debilitating disabilities in both of his hands that made his life all that much harder. That night, Shabari was out drinking and was reportedly pretty intoxicated. As he loitered in the street, a group of men approached him and told him that they wanted to celebrate with him. Now, these people were apparently known to Shabari, and they were all aged between 18 and 22, residing in the same area. As they all celebrated in the street, drinks flowed, and things quickly got out of hand. In the fun of the night, one of the men pulled out a pretty sizable firecracker, measuring approximately 1 foot by 1 foot in size. The group of men then dared Shabari to sit on the firecracker and light it. They said that if he completed this dare, they would buy him an auto rickshaw, which is basically a tuk-tuk. Using this vehicle, Shabari thought that he could better his life. With this tuk-tuk, he could run his own business and escape the construction trade that he struggled to do so much because of his hands. As they dared him, they told him he wasn't man enough to do the stunt, but to their surprise, Shabari agreed. The payoff was worth the risk. At approximately 9:35 p.m, all captured on CCTV, the men set fire to the firecracker and Shabari perched his bottom upon it. All the men then of course ran a mile, and within a second, the firecracker exploded.
Like, this is just seriously like almost like I don't even know how to put it, but it's almost like, bro, y'all know that this is gonna end with this man more than likely dying, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, don't nobody think that this right here is gonna be life-threatening what he doing? Like, at least that much. Don't nobody within this group think this is life-threatening, or maybe they think it is life-threatening and they still want to do it. You know what I'm saying, man? And I remember this video, y'all, from a channel that I did on a live reaction. I can't even think of the name right now, but I remember this video. But Ryan is giving us more details about how this group of men actually convinced this dude to do this. And it also made me wonder, do he even think that his life in danger right now? I just feel like it's too many people right there for nobody to think that this is dangerous. Long story short, short story long. Let's go.
The blast knocked Shabari to the ground and inflicted severe burn injuries to his backside, as well as his belly and his thighs. But these burns were the least of his worries. Instantaneously, the blast had also destroyed his rectum, as well as partially destroyed the lower portion of his intestines. Absolutely shocking stuff. I know they were all drunk, but who in their right mind thinks of this kind of stuff? And to be fair, who agrees to do it? I know he really wanted that tuk-tuk, but I really wouldn't do this kind of thing even for £1 million. Your health is worth more than that. But, as I say, due to peer pressure, as well as the payoff, he believed it would be worth it. Shabari was rushed to the local hospital, and doctors tried their very best to save his life. But, you're watching a bizarre death video. Sadly, nothing could be done, and he succumbed to his horrific injuries on November the 2nd. His mother and family were distraught upon hearing the news. They couldn't quite believe that their son would agree to do something so silly, even while being drunk. But they also couldn't believe that someone had taken advantage of their son, asking him to do something so dangerous. At first, the men who dared him to do this lied to his family, as well as the police, stating that Shabari had approached them with the firecracker and that he was the one who lit it. But when the CCTV footage emerged, it was clear to see that they were all lying. Indian police swiftly arrested 6 of the men in connection to the incident, but as of writing this, no one has yet to be sentenced.
That's a tough one too, y'all. Do you think those men should be charged with at least manslaughter? Or, and not even all of them, not even the whole group, at least the one who actually lit the firecracker on fire or whatever, who actually sparked the firecracker. I don't know, man. I don't know, because Shabari was so complicit with it. Like, he allowed them to do it. It ain't like they had a gun to his head or a knife to his throat or nothing. He literally sat down right there while they all ran away. You know what I'm saying, man? Sat down on this freaking firecracker. It's a crazy one, being team, that I feel like could go either freaking way, man. Either freaking way. Freaking AirPod fell out, but we at the end of the video, y'all. Let's hear Ryan give us the summary of the whole thing. It was a great video.
But that is the end of the video. May everyone featured rest in peace.
Yep.
Now, it's been a long time since I did any bizarre death videos, and that's because they're hard to find, and they rarely occur. And if they do occur, I've already covered them, or they are very famous. While there are some well-known cases in this video that I wanted to cover for a long time, I hope I was able to shed some light on some of the lesser-known cases that may get swept under the rug. But starting from the top, we've got Gurisman, who became trapped in a Walmart oven. This is a fairly new case that really left me scratching my head, as well as many others that looked into it. While the police deemed that there was no foul play, how she became trapped in that oven still remains a mystery. Some people believe that she closed the door and was then too afraid to press the release button, being that it was made out of metal, or that she wasn't made aware of it. And some people still believe that someone trapped her in there, with a minority pointing the finger towards her own mother. But as I say, there's absolutely no evidence to suggest that any foul play was done here. This is one that I'm genuinely interested as to what you guys think below, because I'm stumped. Then,
hey, that's a crazy plot twist, y'all, that I ain't even think about. And it's so crazy. I'm not saying I believe it at all, but hey, anything is a possibility. What if it's her mama, her own mama, who put her in that freezer, in that oven? You know what I'm saying, man? And I don't believe that she didn't know that the emergency button to let her out existed. Like, she literally worked there. She been putting bread and whatever you want to else say into that oven. You know what I'm saying? She actually, before you get hired, you know, you do the booklet and you learn about the precautions with the different machineries and stuff. She knew about the emergency button, so that's not it. But it's crazy as hell to even do that plot twist that it was her mama. I'm not saying it's her, but it is a thought.
And we've got the Ottoman bed death that occurred in the UK. Helen died in one of the worst ways possible, and all because of a faulty gas lift. It's weird, I actually owned one of these beds for a long time and never really considered what would happen if the gas lift broke while I was inside. This case is made worse by the fact her daughter discovered her trapped and could do nothing to save her. God, it just doesn't bear thinking about. I really hope that she didn't suffer too long. Of course, we can't forget Chancholari, that performed a crazy Houdini stunt in front of his family and crowds of people. I'm not sure what to say. He'd obviously done this stunt before, but this time it went all wrong. The agony he must have faced under the water, realizing that he's not magic and that he can't undo the chains, and then realizing that no one can hear him scream for help. It's just horrifying. While he did know the risks, nobody deserves that. Talking about not deserving things, Raimundo did not deserve to be left in that pillar. If those allegations are true, and the police officers knew that he was in there and left him to die, they are truly the worst of the worst, and I hope they are held fully responsible. Yep. Next, we've got the bizarre case of Corey McKeague. While this one is very well known, I wanted to find a video that I could fit it in for a long time. While the courts formally ruled that he did indeed die in the bin, there's a lot to this case that just doesn't really add up. The fact that his car was within walking distance, and that he was wearing white trousers, it makes you think, why would he get in the bin? It's kind of crazy that not a single clue was discovered from his remains, despite digging through the majority of a landfill. No bones, no clothes, no nothing. And finally, Shibari sitting on fireworks. Bloody hell. What was he thinking? But most importantly, what were the people daring him thinking? He obviously needed the money and he needed the car, but the people daring him must have known that this would certainly cause fatal injuries, yet they allowed him to do it anyway. When I'm drunk, I talk too loud and I fall over. I don't dare people to jump in front of cars or sit on fireworks, So really, there's no excuse for any of this. And I hope they too are held accountable for his early and bizarre demise. But most importantly, what did you guys think of this one? As always, you know I try to read every single comment, so do let me know what you think below. But just before I go, if you're not aware, this kind of content is becoming difficult to remain on YouTube uncensored. Because of this, we now have a Patreon. Over there, I will be releasing videos 24 hours early, as well as fully uncensored and uncut. Now, this doesn't mean overly graphic, just my videos as they were always intended to be viewed. So, if you're into that, go and check out my Patreon in the description below. And while you're down there, you may as well tap that subscribe button, as well as that notification bell to be alerted when I release content such as this. But I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.
Another great tragedy tale Friday, Bean Team, with some bizarre freaking deaths, man. Bizarre, crazy deaths all the way around. And I'm not going to run all the way back through them because I know we have been here long enough now, man. But I do just got to speak on this real quick, man. I got to speak on the one with the dude in the bin, y'all. Just the fact that they concluded that he died by going in the bin. Like, that was the cause of death. The coroner, the autopsy people, you know what I'm saying? They said that was the cause of death or whatever. But there is no evidence of that. So I just gotta point out that, and I'll also say that maybe he was murdered. Maybe somebody did freaking kidnap him and murder him or something like that. It's a possibility of that too in that case. I just don't want to just believe 100% that he died in one of those bins, even though it probably is more than likely, especially if you look at the fact of the father saying that he was known to get in those bins when he was drunk and all that. It's just a bizarre one, y'all. That's just one of a lot of freaking bizarre ones that we had, man. I'm just looking at them right now, but I'm not gonna go through them, BT, because like I said, man, I feel like we have been here long enough. I feel like I have said enough, and if I start back talking about these, we'll be here for another freaking 20 minutes. So I digress. I'm gonna go and let y'all go, man. I appreciate y'all coming on back as always. And before you leave, as always, just please hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and do out there if you ain't did that yet. And remember this: love, peace, and happiness. Stay safe. Don't stop. Keep going. Yeah.